Hello everyone, we've already reached week 10 of the NFL season. We have made picks for the last 9. We've done pretty good, so let's head into week number 10. And of course, as you know, we have to look back at how I did in the previous week. This is how I did for week 9. Another good solid week. 5 losses here and there, but overall a good amount of wins to losses. I'm up now by 30. I have to lose and pick wrong 30 times to kind of go 500 here. But what another great week for me. The only questionable ones in my opinion was Carolina beating the Packers. I was really surprised by that. I did not think that was gonna happen, and even maybe the Cardinals beating up on the Cowboys. But nonetheless, another fairly good week to increase my record to 77, 47, and 1. Now let's head to week 10. And we start on Thursday Night Football with the Las Vegas Raiders visiting the Denver Broncos. The Broncos once again wearing their retro orange uniforms. The Broncos have done very well this season. Albeit not to discredit them, but albeit majority of their wins are coming off of one-score games. So that's what you need to do in this league. If you kind of want to succeed, you're going to have to win games like that, and they have. The Raiders, on the other hand, they're the Raiders. Now, they had a great game last week against the Jaguars. They lost in overtime, however, but having Brock Bowers back has really helped that offense out a bit. But there's one caveat to that. No more Jacoby Myers. He's actually off to Jacksonville, the team who they just played. So passing wise, you're kind of just left now with Brock Bowers, to be honest with you. Maybe Trey Tucker gets involved a bit, and Ashton Jeanty, of course, running the ball, but still defensively they have not been strong. It's got to be the Broncos with this one, especially being the home side. I'm going with the Broncos to win on Thursday Night Football. Now to kick off Sunday, we go to Europe yet again for the Atlanta Falcons taking on the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts coming off that loss to the Steelers, which was a surprise to many people, but they have bulked up defensively. Sauce Gardner is now on the team after being traded from the Jets. How big of a deal is that for the Colts? Massive, especially a team who is trying to win and go all in this season with Daniel Jones. A lot of people are making memes about it, how Daniel Jones is now they're going all in with him involved. Kind of insane to think about. Just maybe a year or two ago, we were saying this guy absolutely sucks. But I think that this should probably go the Colts' way. I think now defensively that they feel a bit more, they feel a bit better defensively. The Falcons, I wouldn't shy away from them though. Obviously Drake London, Bijan Robinson have been cooking. Drake London had a couple of good catches last week. If you were watching the Falcons game, you know what I'm talking about. But nonetheless, I think especially with this game in Europe, you never know what to expect, and I'm probably going to go with the better team here just due to the fact that you never know what to expect, and I think it's a safe bet, especially with a bulked up defense. I'm going to go with the Colts. And now to kick off our Sunday at 1 o'clock, we have the Cleveland Browns taking on the New York Jets. Now, the Jets were favored to win this game up until the trade deadline. That's now changed. It's now the Browns, and I believe it will go that way. There's not many people left on the Jets. There's not many people, and it's not a good look right now for the Jets at all. Offensively, defensively, it's just horrible. It's super horrible, and no one is probably going to watch this game unless you're a Browns fan or a Jets fan, or if you have someone playing in fantasy. And Breece Hall might not even play either. So very, very rough looking Jets team going up against a Browns team who's also been rough this year, but it's been a bit better than the Jets, that's for sure. I'm actually going to pick the Browns to win this game. What a garbage game this is. Then we're off to Carolina where the Panthers are taking on the Saints. What a nothing game this would have been last year. This game last year, people would have been like, boy, what a horrible game. It still probably is going to be a horrible game considering the Saints have done nothing in a whole year. Carolina, though, has been very good. They have been fantastic this year. Like I mentioned earlier, they're coming off that win against the Packers, even though it was a low-scoring win. But hey, they beat a great team in the Packers. I expect them to win this game as well. I've said it many times before. The Saints don't have much. The Saints do not have much going for them. Meanwhile, the Panthers looked revitalized. Rico Dowell has come out of nowhere, although he was listed as questionable before I made this video. So we'll see how that goes along. But nonetheless, I still think the Panthers will win this game straight up over the Saints, and they will continue being on a roll. Then we head further south to Tampa Bay, where the Buccaneers are taking on the high-flying New England Patriots. Hey, the Pats yet again. Winning last week. I think they're in good shape again this week to face off against the Bucs team. But however, the Bucs are getting back. their players are coming off of injury. They're going to be a bit healthier offensively as well with Baker Mayfield at the helm. Them being the home side helps out a lot too. I think this has been the Pats' biggest competition in probably a few weeks, that's for sure. I don't know exactly, but I don't think it will go this way this week, especially being the road team for this game and the Bucs getting healthy yet again. I just don't see it happening here. So I'm going to pick the Bucs to beat the Patriots. Then from sunny Florida up north to Minnesota, which is probably going to be chilly, but luckily they have an indoor stadium. It is the Battle of the Purple between the Baltimore Ravens and the Vikings. Vikings are the underdog in this game, surprisingly. But I could see why. I was a bit surprised, but I could see why, to be honest. Obviously, J.J. McCarthy still not fully proven yet, only playing 2 games so far this year. I could kind of see this being an upset. I really can. And Vikings defense just kind of has to show up, in my opinion. Offensively, the Vikings have been all right, especially last week against J.J. McCarthy, right? That upset over the Lions. I think they're okay. Defensively, though, they have to show up, and especially a team like the Baltimore Ravens, they're going to be big on stopping the run. They really are. Obviously, the Vikings' #1 goal this week will just be stop Derrick Henry. Don't let him do anything. And a lot of teams have done that this year, so it seems like teams have finally read the book on Derrick Henry. Almost 10 years into his career, so we'll see. Nonetheless, I'm going to pick the underdog here. I'm actually going to go with the Vikings being the home team. I feel like they'll take the upper hand over the Ravens. Then we head back south to Miami, where the Dolphins are taking on the Buffalo Bills. The Bills coming off a great win over the Kansas City Chiefs last Sunday. I expect kind of something similar to the Dolphins. I feel like they were going to beat them up just like they did last time. The Dolphins haven't really changed all that much over the last few weeks. Ever since they lost Tyreek Hill, same old. I think Buffalo's defense will absolutely beat up on the Dolphins here. There's not really much else to say in this game. I think we all know how it's going to go, and I think the majority of us are going to pick the team I'm going to pick here. It's going to be the Bills to beat up on the Dolphins. Next up, we got the Giants taking on the Bears in Chicago. The Bears coming off one in a fantastic game against the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm surprised how close it actually is. I feel like, yes, the Bears have not been, superb all year. They're still growing as a team. They're still really trying to, sand out the rough edges of Ben Johnson's offensive playbook and the team that they have right now. But then you look at the Giants, and they're also not looking that bad this year, despite all the injuries they've had. But I'm surprised how close it really is, to be honest. Yes, the Giants were all right last week, but I don't think they'll be all right this week against the Bears. I'm going to pick the Bears to win this week over the Giants. And then our final 1 o'clock game on Sunday, it's the Jacksonville Jaguars in Houston taking on the Texans. The Texans in this one, it's up in the air right now. This game is really up in the air. CJ Stroud went under concussion protocol last week on Sunday after he got hit hard in his game. He was questionable to play this week. It's still up in the air whether he will or not. That's why I think this result is up in the air. If he plays, I think the Texans have a good chance at winning this game. If he doesn't, I don't think so at all. But for the Jacksonville side, they just got Jacoby Myers. Obviously, they said he won't play too much, so we'll have to wait and see what happens with Jacoby Myers. But nonetheless, that's reinforcements for Jacksonville, which they need. And I think that will help them out a lot this week. So I think if CJ doesn't play, Jacksonville win this game. If he does, I think it's still up in the air. But I'm just going to take Jacksonville this week. I feel like they have the upper hand being a more healthier team. Now we go to 4 o'clock, and we start with the Arizona Cardinals taking on the Seattle Seahawks. The Cardinals shocked a lot of people last week, beating the Dallas Cowboys. Now they take on the Seattle Seahawks offense that has now JSN, Sam Darnold, and Rashid Shaheed, who they got from the Saints. Now, Rashid Shaheed, won't absolutely just flip an offense around and become a superstar, but he will help them out a lot. But going into this game, I feel like it's an interesting one because Kyler Murray's not playing. It'll be Brissett again to start at quarterback for the Cardinals, and they've done all right under Brissett at quarterback. But you're facing a Seattle team that offensively has been stellar. Defensively has been all right, but their offense is what drives their games. And I can see that happening yet again here against the Cardinals, which their defense has been kind of iffy all season long. So I'm taking the home team on the side. It's going to be the Seahawks beating the Cardinals. Then we go to Washington, where the beat-up Commanders are taking on the Detroit Lions. Jaden Daniels, man. Oh my God, what a horrific injury. If you've not seen it yet, I'm not going to show it, but if you've not seen it and you're not grossed out about many things, I'd maybe go watch it. But if you are grossed out, do not watch it. It is an absolute tragedy for Jane Daniels in his second season as an NFL quarterback to deal with all these injuries. And it's just crushing the Commanders' season, and I think this will be another crushing loss for the Commanders. They're playing the Lions, who are coming off a loss to the Vikings. They are going to want revenge. Not over the Commanders, but just because they lost last week. They're going to want a big win, and I can see that happening here, especially with a team whose offense has been absolutely killed by injuries all season long. Don't get me wrong, Marcus Mariota could surprise some people like he did to me earlier this year, but they're facing the Lions. It's a different story if you're facing maybe a team like the Saints. But nonetheless, it's got to be the Lions, and that's all I really have to say about this one. And our final 4 o'clock game, it is the Los Angeles Rams taking on the San Francisco 49ers in this divisional matchup. This is an interesting one. Yet again, we're coming into this week in which we don't know if Brock Purdy is going to play for San Francisco. I know I've said that for the last couple of weeks. Brock Purdy is going to play, and he hasn't. And I'm kind of like dumbfounded by that. How severe is his injury actually? Mac Jones, on the other hand, has actually done all right as the backup quarterback for the 49ers, but now they're facing off against this Ram team who has been stellar. Puka Nacua is back. Their passing game is insane. Running with Kyren Williams has also been good. Defensively has been all right as well. Now, being the home side, maybe the 49ers have a bigger chance to win this game, but this Rams team is still very, very strong, and I can't see the 49ers win this game. In my opinion, I think the Rams will go up the highway to San Francisco and beat them up, so I'm taking the Rams over the 49ers. Now we go to Sunday Night Football, in which we got the Pittsburgh Steelers in Los Angeles taking on the Chargers. It won't be a home game for the Chargers. The last time the Steelers played in Los Angeles, it was a bunch of terrible towels waving, and I expect that to be the same as well. In the game, though, the Steelers are coming off that win. The Chargers also beat up on the Tennessee Titans last week. I think this game will be led by whose defense is stronger. Now, that could be, thanks, Captain Obvious. But to be honest with you, the Chargers defense was pretty good last week against the Titans. The Titans only got their points because of turnovers from the offense, and that's what I mean by that. If the Steelers defense can't show up in this game, they will win this game. But if they have an off game, it's going to be the Chargers, and that's what I kind of feel like it's going to be this week. I feel like the Steelers, their defense, they had a great week last week. I don't know if they'll be able to come up again this week and play all that well. I'm taking the Chargers to win on Sunday Night Football. And now for Monday Night Football to end Week 10, we got the Green Bay Packers hosting the Philadelphia Eagles. This one's an interesting one. I mean, the Green Bay Packers are going to want to have a better game than last week over the Panthers. The Eagles, however, are kind of back to being like the Eagles of old, like last year. The passing game's now good. The running game's getting better, especially with Saquon Barkley. This game is really close, in my opinion. I think the Packers defense will have to have a stellar game for a chance to win this one. But just with how the Eagles were playing for the last couple of weeks, I just can't see that really happening in this one. And the Packers offense was just horrible last week. They've had horrible starts to games. And if the Eagles get an early big lead or a decent lead by a touchdown or two or maybe 3, they're in trouble. I think, the Packers will be in big trouble for this game. And I feel like that's kind of how it's going to go. I feel like the Eagles offense will outpower the Packers defense. I'm taking the Packers to lose Monday Night Football to the Philadelphia Eagles. All right, everyone, so there you have it. Those are my picks for Week 10 of the NFL season. If you like this video, please leave a like on it if you have not yet, and subscribe to the Zucc TV channel, as I'll be doing these videos every single week. And as well, if you like my picks or if you didn't, please leave a comment down below if you have not yet as well. Let me know what you think. Also, please click the bell to be notified of when I post, because like I said, I'm doing one every week. Anyways, everyone, thank you so much for watching this video. Enjoy Week 10 of the NFL season. Peace.